Introduce our keynote speaker, BMO Shah. As an author, a thriving entrepreneur, a coach, and a speaker, BMO provides unique and customized coaching, planning, accountability system to executive and team of company to positively impact your bottom line. BMO's story began when he came to the United States 20 years ago with only $20 in my pocket. He had to spend on a pizza, a Coke, and a car machine that didn't give him the change back. He was that broke. He then worked 5 jobs to pay his own out-of-state tuition, but he graduated with $20,000 in savings, rejected more than a dozen job offers after graduation to start his own business, and has been a thriving entrepreneur ever since. He's married for 18 years old to his lovely wife, Amy, and dedicated father to his 2 daughters, after which he named the company. BMO is on a die-hard mission to help a million entrepreneurs like yourself achieve new level of prosperity in life and business by providing security fund and a means of prosperity. So does that mean that if I invest my company $20,000, you're gonna turn that into a $2 million?
Well, let's try.
All right, so let's give a big welcome to BMO Shah.
Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you very much. I would first like to thank Evelyn for this opportunity to be in front of green and growing entrepreneurs. How are you all doing?
Good.
Good, good. So I have this sheet, if you can just pass it around. Pass one around. So take one and pass it around. This is going to be a working workshop that I'm going to walk you through some action items, and hopefully you will walk out with some great strategies and action plans and ideas that you can implement in your business that will make you money, save you time, bring efficiency, and I believe in giving value on the spot. So that's my giveaway. And there's everyone who fills this out and returns it back to me, I will send you back an email copy scan, and you get a copy of my free book. And the book is for free. I give it to you. And also, everybody have a pen? Everybody have a pen? Okay. I have some here.
Oh, okay.
There's one I put it in the back. So if you return this, I'll give you my book. And in my folder, there's some amazing tools that I've used to bring efficiency in your employees. But before I begin, I want to ask, how many of you here have employees? Raise your hand. Okay, so a majority of you. Good. Is this a topic that's very, very important for you? Okay. So what I would like to do is begin by asking your biggest frustration, pain, challenge that you have in your business today. And I want to, take a survey and provide you some strategies that you can walk away with. Now, in the worksheet, on one side you have notes, and on the other side you have action. This is the best way I found to take notes. Because what happens is when you take notes, and you just go back, you have to revisit these notes to understand what I spoke about, what you want to do. But as soon as you write some notes, whatever thoughts come to your mind, you write it in your action plan that you want to convert into actions. So you're already walking out with an action plan. You don't have to do your homework back again when you leave from here. Okay? So make sure you do that. So let's start with you. Give me your name and tell me your biggest frustration.
Regarding employees?
Or anybody, and in general also. It could be employees, but tell me your biggest frustration.
My name is Eileen Arias, and my biggest frustration would be, right now I'm working with some banks to refinance my mortgage. So I guess
So what about employees? Any frustration with your team and employees?
With my employees, I guess I guess it's the other way around. It's me with them trying to slow down a little bit so I don't drive them crazy.
Okay, so you are the problem.
They know you're woman of the year. I mean, they don't know that.
Go ahead.
For me, my name is Felipe and the company is in Chicago. I have had an employee for 12 years now.
Okay.
And she's been good, and now I've been trying to grow more, you know. And there's a shift on what we have done in the past and what I want to do now.
Okay.
And for me, that change, I still don't know if I want to give her the opportunity, you know, for her to change. We've been communicating better, and at a point, it will be her decision if she will stay or she will go. But you know.
So it's development, employee training and development.
Yeah, exactly,
Okay.
and especially that she's been with me so long, and I don't know if she can, you know,
All right.
make the shift.
Go ahead.
I'm delegating better, but then I'm frustrated that I can't trust that what I delegate gets done.
So trusting the task. Will she do the job, or will he or she get the job done?
Right.
Okay.
So my situation's a little bit different. I just have a staff of one, so I'm completely dependent on my volunteers and my board to step up to the next level. And sometimes the challenge is best ways to engage, because there's no money incentive. So best ways to engage
So engagement.
the volunteer, the board.
Non-financial.
Okay.
I know.
Yeah, I'm having an issue right now that my technicians are out in the field are independent contractors, and I want to put a more unified vision on the field, which would mean putting them in work vehicles. So that issue between putting an independent contractor in a company vehicle, do I have to change them over to employee or keep them the way they are?
So more kind of where your vision is or what your company future is, and if they buy into that, something like that.
And that's probably even a legal issue, or
Yeah.
an HR legal issue.
Yeah, but if they're going to want to, because they've been happy doing it the way they like it. So
Okay.
again, like when you want to grow and change, sometimes they're resistant to that.
And Evelyn, you mentioned one of your biggest challenges is delegation, and you wear too many hats, and your name came up against each one of the elements in one of the exercises that you did.
Yes.
So your challenge would be delegation. How do you delegate to the team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. How many of you believe that you wear too many hats? Raise your hand. Majority of the room. Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
My frustration is with some longtime employees. I have a couple that have been with me for 7-8 years, and they've kind of lost that sense of I have to really perform to stay in the. You know, they've gotten cushy, and so it's having them be accountable, but at the same time they're like really valuable employees.
Okay.
So it's that balance between pushing them and
Getting it better. Getting things done better.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm in a little similar situation. My youngest employee has been with me probably 15 years. I feel like I play whack-a-mole. So basically, one problem pops up, I deal with it, I handle it, and then the next one.
So you solve their problems.
Well, the problem with the employees just seems to be, so one of them is motivation during lack of time, the next it's, inter-office politics, and then you deal with that, you take care of someone else, and it just seems like
Okay.
the whole process.
So motivation is a key issue. Okay. Go ahead.
I think it's similar to him. It's auto-motivation for me, because when there is a gap between projects, they prefer to chat or don't. We, as a company, always you left everything for yourself at the end, because you never have time to do something for you. You always are working for clients. So when there is a gap, instead of I don't have to do anything for any client, I can do something for my company where I work.
So you feel like you're a slave of your own business.
Yeah.
You can put it that way.
I think the employees they prefer there is a gap of 4 hours, I'm not going to do anything. I prefer to relax.
Okay.
Instead of,
All right. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know if mine is a problem, but all my cohorts members, they know that I have been looking for someone very efficient. I got someone, I have to let them go. But I
So
got
turnover.
this person. Now, she's far better than me. She's very efficient. She's doing everything that I expected whoever wants to work like an assistant to me. She's doing everything right. But I'm having problem of trust. I don't know if I should let her do everything, like giving her my payroll because I do that myself. But in reality, she is very, very good. So I don't know if that is a problem. I'm having a trust problem right now.
Okay. Anybody else that I missed?
I guess I would just say it's kind of accumulation, lack of initiative. They're too relying on me for decision making.
So they're not able to make decisions on their
I
own.
think they are. They just don't have the confidence.
They don't have the confidence, employee confidence. Anybody else? Did I miss? Biggest frustration, pain, challenge? Okay. So the key thing here is, all of you said that you wear too many hats. So you're taking on too many responsibilities. You're doing so many things. Like Evelyn said that, my name comes across all the functions in the chart, whether it's marketing, whether it's human relations, whether it's technology, whether it's payroll, whether it's this, whether it's that. And kind of, we have used this as a common analogy that I wear too many hats, right? So I'm going to actually wear too many hats and see how I look.
Oh my God. Crazy.
Does this feel good?
No.
Does it look good?
Crazy.
No, right? So the only way to get rid of all these hats is to wear the one hat that you like and love to wear. So what the action plan that I would put down right now is write this sentence. I would like to wear, and it will be blank, the blank hat by such and such date. Put a date, and you can write down under the action plan, I would like to wear this hat. So everybody has one thing that they love to do, and I'm going to draw this here so you all can see this. It's a sweet spot. Your hat should have this sweet spot of these 4 circles. What you love to do, what you have a great talent for, what pays you well, and what creates value for the world, or your customers. The greatest value. So find your sweet spot between these 4 things. That what is it that I love to do? What is it that I have a great talent for? What is it that if I do in the company pays me very well, pays me handsomely? So for example, let's say it's sales. Okay? I'm a great salesman. Most entrepreneurs are salesmen, right? So I'm a great salesman, so I'm great at client meetings. If I'm meeting clients, I'm doing great, I'm making money, things are happening. And if that pays you well and that creates value, that's the hat that you want to wear. All the other hats need to be delegated, right? So put a date. Nothing happens without a deadline. If you don't put a deadline to something, this is a task that will remain unfinished, untouched, and just a dream or a wish.
But isn't it true that as business owners, we should be the sculptors, if you will, of our business and not necessarily get into the technical areas like sales or,
Well, I give an example that if that is an area, like I'm not saying specifically sales, but let's say pick your area that you love to do, that you have a great talent for, and then that pays you well. So for example, you may be great at project management. Okay, so you can take an idea, put the steps, put it in a sequence, create a system, and create a whole process, and then you can run the company very well. You may not be good in front of your customers. So find an area that works well for you, and then just focus on that, and then delegate the rest.
How about this? What if you're really great at one thing? Like I'm great at sales, but I don't really like to be out there hustling and bustling all the time.
Then delegate the prospecting to someone else.
But I'm the one, I've tried that for the last year and a half and it doesn't work.
Well,
When people talk to me, I close.
We should talk about that because I had that same problem.
And I've tried,
I can tell you my own story. I can tell you my own story, and I can tell you.
everything.
I can tell you my own story, and I can also tell you how I helped other entrepreneurs achieve the same. So what we did is we built the whole hiring process. The key thing here is hire slow, fire fast.
And I've done a lot of fire fast, which hurts the culture of the company when you do that with the sales things because they get into the mode and they're like, okay, this is the next person that can do that. So there's also a balance there as well, I would say, somehow.
Right, but there is, if you don't have a written process, and if your process is not lengthy, for example, before you even start interviewing, have 20 of the most ideal candidates that are the best they are, and then start making your decision. Most entrepreneurs, because we want to fill a position, it's void, we need to get things moving. The first person that comes, we interview, great, join it, I want to see you tomorrow. That's how we do it, and that's a big mistake. That's a big mistake. So you don't want to start until you have at least 20 great ideal candidates for the job that you're seeking. Okay, and I go deep into building a hiring process, customized hiring process for companies. I can tell you we built for a home healthcare company, an accounting firm, a law firm, all with different elements, scorecards, even testing before, videos. So we built in so many different components in the hiring process, 3 interviews, first interview with this, second interview with that. So it depends on the company, depends on what you want to achieve. And once we build a hiring process, that's how, go ahead.
No, but my question to Anya is, if you're the expert or the one that closes business, so why not just take that area and focus on that one?
See, that's when my advisor, who is a private equity, she's like, you know what? You've tried this for the last year. You tried to hire. Granted, I have 1 or 2 that are good. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't have 0. But to really take this company to where I want to take it, I'm the one that closes $1 million bills. Nobody else does.
So just focus on that.
So that's what they tell me to focus on. Now, that takes a lot from me, right? And it's something that I'm having a hard time taking because I'm sure I have small kids, yada, and that takes usually being on the road, hustling, and being.
There's 2 things in life.
A journey that creates a difficult kind of thing on my other part of my life. So it's a struggle and a balance. And so.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if I agree necessarily. Actually, this is what I'm saying. That I've heard this a couple times, and I'm saying, is it really? If you're good at something, that doesn't. Sometimes there's other factors that take to play that.
Right, and so that's why I say you may not necessarily start right away, but you put a date, you put a transition date that by this date I want to have this accomplished. So, for example, if you want to build a how many here would like a self-managing company? Or do you know what's a self-managing company?
Yeah, we know what it likes.
All right. So self-managing company is where it's a company you have delegated everything and everything runs on it. The employees are performing on its own and they know exactly what to deliver. You're not monitoring or looking it over and you're doing things on a regular basis and you're focused on what you do best. In order to do that, you need to have a clear process in everything. Now, basically, there's 2 types of employees. No matter who you hire, what title you put, doesn't matter what you do, there's only 2 types of employees. Project managers and process managers. Now the first employee that you want to hire is a project manager because as an entrepreneur you have lots of ideas, innovation, things like that and you want to make it come to fruition. The problem happens is when people hire process managers in the initial stage of their business. A process manager is something you tell someone to do it as a step-by-step and that's their routine or things to do and that's they follow. The moment you give a new idea or a new thing to them, I don't have time for this. This is not good. They don't like it. And as an entrepreneur, you have lots of new ideas. You have lots of new innovations that you want to bring to the table. You have big dreams. So the first person that you want to hire in your company has to be a project manager who converts your dream and idea into a process. And then he gives that process to someone else and they follow it like a routine. Okay? So that's what you want to do when it comes to project. I tell you a story about a company that we built a job scorecard and it's a home healthcare company. Okay, they're having issues about the employees not performing, so we built a measuring system. Why they measure their goals on a daily basis, and there's a scorecard. It's a game. So it's a fun game that I designed them for playing every single day, and they get a weekly score. Now when they meet in their weekly meeting, they share their scores. And if their scores are not up to the mark, they're not doing a good job. And we customize this system and call it the good job measure. So, it measures whether or not you're doing a good job. And when we did that, their results just went through the roof. Because now everybody knew exactly what to deliver on a daily basis. And we narrowed down their activities from 10 to 15 activities to just 3 activities. The problem is we give way too much and expect way too much. Less is more. Less is more. So find out what is the most valuable activity that your employees can do that brings you the highest result. Instead of giving them 20 things to do that are making them more efficient, you're making them highly inefficient. Highly inefficient. But find out 3 activities that they can do that is the most valuable, that they become irreplaceable. That I cannot replace this employee, because now if they're doing this and bringing this result, and if they continue to bring this result on an ongoing basis, it's the best thing that happened to me. Okay? So put a date that I'm going to prepare the 3 most valuable activities for my staff by such and such date as an action plan. Trusting the employees. That's one of the key things I heard around everybody, that I cannot trust my team to do their job. Now it all starts with purpose. People would die for a purpose rather than work for a paycheck. So in the case of, forgot, what's her name?
Lori.
Right? Oh,
Sorry.
I was taking notes.
What's your name?
Lori.
Lori. So you were mentioning that you have volunteers and you don't know how to motivate them. So the way you can motivate them is through purpose. Have a clearly defined purpose. What's Apple's purpose? Making technology easy. Google. Categorize world information. So think about, do you have a bigger purpose that speaks volumes more than the money or anything that you're paying them? And they would do anything to serve that purpose. And that purpose is just your purpose, then you find your employee's purpose. So I'll tell you a true story about a plumbing company. And their employees were about to leave. So what I did was ask them this question. You can write this question down. If I were to meet you, and we put a date. So let's say today is April 28, 2019. That's 3 years from today. Okay? And we were looking back to today. What has to have happened in your life, personally and professionally speaking? What pictures do you see? What vision do you see that makes you feel that you had meaningful progress with me and working for my company during that period? So when we asked that question, they were very specific. They said, I want to be able to move into a home. I want to see my kids graduate to college. We may have big dreams, but they may have small little goals that they want to accomplish that are so important to them that we don't put our eyes on them. We think that if we give a paycheck, they have to work. And that's not the case. So once you understand what's important for them, understand their purpose. So this is the first P of team empowerment, purpose. Understand your employee's purpose. Make sure that, why are they coming to work? Once you understand, okay, he wants to buy a home, create a reward system that's customized to that employee. And that's exactly what we did. The employer decided he's going to put X amount of dollars for his home. So he would be able to purchase his home in 12 months. So instead of him waiting for 3 years, now he's going to be able to move into a home for 12 months. Now, an employee even sees that the employer is doing for that, he doesn't have a need to go anywhere else. Go ahead.
Yeah, except when you give them the loan to do the house, and then 3
No.
years later it's slowed down.
I'm talking about his down payment. It was increasing the salary.
Saying, it just seems that when you address those issues, the next thing pops up again. So yes, you deal with it on an ongoing basis. So at that moment, you're pleasing them. But the moment that there are trials and tribulations, that rarely is remembered.
So again, it all goes back to think about you going to eat buffet. Okay, now you pick the food from a buffet, and now you say, well, I don't like this food, but you're the one who got it, right? So you pick the employee. So it all goes down to the hiring process. What is your hiring process? If your hiring process is not stringent, if your hiring process does not meet the protocols of who the ideal candidate is, then you're going to have those issues, because you're going to eliminate these issues in the hiring process itself. You're going to have so many different protocols. I mean, I would have to do probably a 3-hour workshop, 4-hour workshop just on the hiring process to train you and build a customized hiring process. It's a whole new topic, but that's where you build and solve that problem.
I think that's more geared to the new environment of employee that's there for a very small, specific.
It could be even for any type of any level. I mean, Zappos has a hiring process where everybody goes to the customer service training, and they pay the employees to leave. Say, we will cut you a check after the training if you don't want to join us. And they have increased the stake for the last 5 years, and nobody's taken it. So it goes down to the hiring process. So that's, it's very, very important that you build that. One of the key things in a hiring process is, what do you stand for? Because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. What are your values? What do you believe in? What are your core beliefs? And does your employee's core values, or the person that you hired and beliefs, match up with what you believe in? And if they don't, that itself is a no-no. That itself is a no-no. So if you believe in working smart, working hard, but that employee believes that, okay, I only need to do this, I don't, and they have no examples of that, but they have good credentials, or their resume looks good, or they lied on the resume. Many people do, right, just to impress and get a job. So that's where you understand what, where your core beliefs and values are. Delegation. It's been a big thing about you wanting to delegate. But before I jump into that, it's the little things that create big problems in life. Have you ever been bit by an elephant? Anybody? No. How many of you have been bit by a mosquito? Right? So it's the little things that create big troubles. Think about these nails. Okay, if you're driving to close $1 million meeting, let's say it's $1 million close, and this nail gets into your tires and you're stuck. What happens? You can't close. You lost that meeting, right? The sale is done. You cannot do it. So it's the little things in life. Similarly with your employees, interactions are very important. Simple thing like, don't tell me how to do my job. Has that ever happened? Some interaction, where you had an employee interaction where you were not in control of yourself, where there was a friction. I've seen friction happen in many, many employers and employees where they talk, and it's common to use, the F word or this word or that word, but that leads, it's a spark that leads to a big fire. So in this company, it was a construction company. We created 4 agreements, mutual agreements. One is, we're only going to speak with purpose. And if it doesn't serve the purpose, we remain silent. So nobody speaks just for the sake of talking. I mean, a lot of people just want to talk just because they want to talk, right? But it doesn't serve the purpose. Second is, nobody will speak with sarcasm or use any kind of foul words or foul language, because it's a spark that could go anywhere. I mean, for you, many of you, it might be a common word in your day-to-day language, and you talk about it, whether it's good or bad or whether it's cool, but it's something that could create a big fire in the future. And it's best to avoid it. It's best to avoid even that little spark and be humble. So, create some mutual agreements. And so most of you like, okay, this is a rule. This is a policy. But what if the policy or the rule doesn't make any sense to the employee? They don't have their heart in following the rules just because you told them. Now, okay, they give you a very simple example. So an employer says, okay, I want you to call Mr. John Smith. And the employee calls